right, so listen up, class. Here's what we're going to do, yeah? So we're looking at joint actions. Remember, I said we're going to identify two primary joint actions at the subtalar joint, two at the ankle, two at the knee, 7 at the hip. That's where the femur inserts into the acetabulum. We've got two primary at the sacroiliac joint that we need to look at, 4 primary ones at the vertebral column. We've got 9 at the shoulder, which is the glenohumeral joint. Okay, that's where the humerus inserts into the glenoid fossa or glenoid cavity. We have about 4 with different language. We've got 6 at the scapula and 4 at the elbow. So here's what we're going to do. So as we verbalize it, we're actually going to perform. So I need you to stand up, and you'll also get clarification of what you've written on your paper is indeed correct. Okay? So we're going to start with the subtalar joint. So to see it, to do it, to feel it, to touch it, is to learn it. All right? So the first thing we're going to do is the subtalar joint. Remember we said the subtalar joint is below the ankle joint. Okay? It's the joint right here. And that's where you have the following. So if our foot is looking that way, we call it pronation. We also call it what? What's another term?
Flat foot.
It's flat-footed, but we also say it begins with E. What is it?
Eversion.
Eversion. Nice job. So let's go back to the neutral position. Now let's go to a supinated foot, which is also known as inversion. Okay, good. Let's go to the ankle joint. So the ankle joint now is this joint right here. The ankle joint is either going to be this way or that way. Okay, let's point our toes downwards, so that's clearly plantar flexion. And on the way up, that's clearly dorsiflexion. So if I was doing a squat as an example, when I start to descend, I am closing the angle or reducing the angle. So therefore, on my way down in a squat, what type would I have at the shoulder? Excuse me, at the ankle? Dorsiflexion. Therefore, on the way up, I would have plantar. How about the knee? What is this? Knee, knee, thank you. To bend is to flex. So this is knee flexion, so therefore this would be knee extension. Okay, so let's put the two together at the ankle and the knee. In a squat exercise, as I descend into a squat, what's happening at the ankle again? Dorsiflexion. What's happening at the knee? Flexion. Thank you. So therefore on the way up, I have knee extension and I have plantar at the ankle. Well done. Let's go and do the 7 at the hip. Are we ready? What's this?
Extension.
No. What is this?
Hip extension.
Flexion.
Thank you. Hip flexion. What's this?
Extension.
Thank you. All good? Okay, so let's do an evaluation of a squat. When I go down into a squat, what's happening at my hip? Flexion of my hip. What's happening at my knee?
Flexion.
And what's happening at my ankle?
Dorsey.
Thank you. On the way up, therefore, I have what at the ankle? Plantar.
Extension.
Extension of the knee.
Extension.
Extension of the hip. Good. Next, what is this? Perform it with me, and also look at your sheets to make sure what you've written is correct or not. But what is this?
Abduction.
ADD or ABD?
ABD.
ABD. To abduct is to take away from the midline of the body. Therefore, this in would be hip adduction. Good. What is this?
Circumduction.
Circumduction. Okay. What is this? What type of rotation? External, also known as what?
Open.
Opening.
What? Okay, we call it opening gate. That's easy language to remember. But if it's external, it is also what? Begins with L?
Lateral.
Lateral, good. So this is to close the gate. That's how you want to remember it. Also known as internal or medial rotation. Good. Okay, so again, hip external rotation, hip internal rotation. Also known as hip lateral rotation and hip medial rotation. All good on that? Yes? Was it our 7 at the hip? Yes, it was, wasn't it? Yes. And that one again we said was circumduction. Good. Let's look at the sacroiliac joint. So we have 2 actions there. This one here would be anterior pelvic tilt, and this would be good. What are the disadvantages from an excessive anterior pelvic tilt? Do it and feel it. What happens when you excessively tilt this way? What does it do? It changes what?
Posture.
It changes your posture where? Lumbar spine. So what does it do? It puts more pressure. So sometimes you have a lower back pain because you have that anterior pelvic tilt. People who sit for multiple hours every day has that because their hip flexor can't flex. becomes very overactive.
And you
Okay.
hyperlordosis.
You get hyperlordosis, correct. Okay. Now, let's look at the vertebral column. So this is spinal what?
Flexion.
Flexion. Give me a typical example where I'm doing spinal flexion.
Crunches.
Crunches or a sit-up, absolutely. What is this? Spinal extension. Give me an example of an exercise.
Back extension?
The upward phase of the back extension. Remember, when you talk about exercise, you've got to be very, very distinct and clear into which phase. Okay, so back extension involves two movements, right? Just like every exercise. If I'm doing a squat, I have a down phase, I have an up phase. I'm doing a back extension, I have a lowering phase and an extension phase. So you need to clarify. But you're right, on the upward phase of a back extension, the upward phase of a good morning, absolutely.
Or sit-up.
What else would I have happening at the vertebral column?
Lateral.
Lateral what?
Extension.
Lateral
Flex.
flexion, good. So what exercises would I be doing if I'm doing a lateral flexion? I'll be doing what?
Lateral frontal
Side bends as an example, yep, and I'll do the other side. And the last one that we have is this. This is rotation. Give me an example of an exercise, will you please?
Russian twist.
Russian twist. Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's go to the most complicated or complex. Let's go to the shoulder. If I ask you on an exam, what actually is the shoulder joint that we're evaluating, you will say it is via what? What is that bone?
Humerus.
Humerus inserted into, what is that shallow socket?
Glenoid cavity.
The glenoid cavity or the glenoid fossa. So that's what we're evaluating. We've got 9 actions there. So this would be what? Shoulder what?
elevation.
Shoulder what?
Flexion.
Flexion, correct. This will be shoulder.
Extension.
Good. This will be shoulder.
Lateral abduction.
Abduction, good. Therefore, this is shoulder. Adduction. This is
Seal.
circumduction. Let's do this. Let's open the door. So that we shoulder what?
External rotation.
External. What's another word for external? Or lateral rotation. And then to close the door, that will be shoulder.
Internal.
Internal or medial rotation. Nice job. Next one we're going to do is this. We're going to do a bench press. So we're bringing the weight down. That will be shoulder horizontal what? Abduction. ABD. Therefore, on the way up, it'll be shoulder horizontal adduction. Good. Was that R9?
Yep.
Yes? Good. Okay, let's do the elbows, shall we? Before we go back into the scapulas. This is elbow what?
Flexion.
And this is elbow. If my palm is up, I have supinated position. If my palm is down, it is pronated. If I am this, it is what?
Neutral.
Neutral. It's the handshake position. Let's look at the scapulas back here, okay? And let's use all the different terminology if we can when appropriate. So here goes. We have scapular what?
Adduction.
No, that's
Elevation.
Elevation, good. What exercise am I doing in the gym with scapular elevation? I'm doing a shrug. This is scapular what?
Depression.
Thank you. If I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together, that's scapular what?
Adduction.
Adduction, also known as scapular retraction, correct. Conversely, if my scapulars are going forward, it's scapular what?
Protraction.
Abduction, ABD, also known as scapular protraction. If I am doing a shoulder press, which way is my scapula rotating?
It's
Up. So that would be scapular upward rotation. And therefore, on the way down, it would be scapular downward rotation. Okay, and that.